Według Białego Domu wykorzystywanie...
According to the White House, using tools to protect against external enemies for internal political purposes is unacceptable. This is a reaction of the White House regarding Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk's plan to put TVN and Polsat on the list of strategic companies. What should a list of protected strategic companies for the interests of the Polish state look like? And why shouldn't TVN be on that list? Today, I'm taking a closer look at the situation. In a world where manipulation and harmful actions by our adversaries are increasingly sophisticated, it is essential to ensure that the media remain free from hostile interference. This requires constant vigilance on the part of governments, civil society and the private sector. Poland's position on the front lines of defending Europe and NATO from harmful foreign influences requires protecting the independence of the media to maintain democracy. Using the tool of protection against external enemies for internal political purposes is unacceptable. The existence of an independent media that looks at the government's actions and exposes election lies is hugely important. Donald Tusk has clearly indicated his favourite TV station. So much that reports of Hungary's desire to buy the TVN station from American Discovery forced the Prime Minister to act. I have made the decision to make the regulation on entities subject to protection and the control bodies competent for them to complete the list of companies that are also included in this regulation, including TVN and Polsat state TV stations. The question is whether the Prime Minister can include his favourite stations in the register of strategic companies. The regulations clearly indicate what types of entities can be subject to special state protection. The list mainly includes energy, military or telecommunications companies, strategic from the point of view of state security. Look in vain for media entities here. We do have it written in the law that these are telecommunications companies, but this is not about broadcasting, but about the security of information transmission. This, however, should be kept to strategic parts of the economy, not that any Prime Minister will put any private company on a list of companies controlled de facto by the state. Why might the Prime Minister care so much about TVN? Tusk would immediately lose public support. He would lose the power which, after what he has done over the past year, is necessary for him to survive in politics at all and to walk free. So he is doing everything to keep this TV station in the hands of people favourable to him. Zygmunt Solorz, owner of Polsat, also commented on Tusk's plans. Although this statement is written in a diplomatic tone, it indicates the Prime Minister's ignorance, as the Polsat Group's telecommunications companies and Polkomtel are already on the list. But, despite the fact that Polsat Television was not and is not for sale, the Polish Prime Minister's announcement coincides with unprecedented pressure on the company's reputation, which in my opinion may be aimed at forcing a change in the group's managers and, in the medium term, selling off its asset. The government is trying to take control of who will be the eventual buyer of the two television stations. A list of protected entities is being established under Article 4.2 of the law on control of certain investments. I have no doubt that this is a decision driven by his political interests and the political interests of presidential candidate Mr. Trzaskowski, because without TVN he simply can't manage in this election campaign, and there is no law that would justify this move. Listing a company means restricting the ability to make free changes in its ownership structure. This requires the approval, so-called, of the control body, which is usually a minister subordinate to the Prime Minister.